politics. And Denmark's come up with an original solution to the migration question. It plans to ferry its unwanted foreigners to an isolated island. Foreign criminals and failed asylum seekers unable to return to their home countries will be taken to the island of Lindholm, 7 hectares in size and 3 kilometers from the shore. The island is used for infectious disease research. Inhabitants will still have to sleep there and register every day with authorities. The Danish People's Party celebrated the initiative with a cartoon on its Facebook page. Well, the move comes as the Commission stands to leave behind asylum procedures ahead of European elections in May. And to delve deeper into this, I am joined by Anders Primdahl, who is an MEP with the Danish People's Party, Friends of Europe's Director of Strategy, Dharmendra Kanani, joining us again, and the Sunday Times EU correspondent, Andrew Byrne. All right, I will start with you, Anders. I mean, what is this, basically? Is it pushing the envelope on what is acceptable?
I wouldn't say so. The institution is only for people who have been convicted of criminal offences and have endured long prison sentences in Denmark, and then are subsequently placed there until they can return to their country of origin. So ordinary rejected asylum applicants is still going to be in other facilities. So this is focused in on really...
But is there not something wrong with the idea of ferrying people to an island isolation?
No, I think there's something wrong with the idea to have people who have convicted of very serious crimes like murder, crimes of war, sexual crimes, hard violence, and having them in society when they by a court have been deemed to be sent abroad to their country of origin. I think that's the real problem. And right now we have these institutions in neighborhoods where people actually live and are quite unsafe. So in that sense, I think it's a very good solution to a delicate problem.
All right, what do you think, Dharmendra, of
I was reflecting on this. This year is a year which we commemorated the First World War. Which led also to a second, in which some of the worst crimes of humanity were created. And actually seeing the cartoon and listening to some of the rhetoric coming out of the political party and the foreign minister and home minister, it reminds you of that rhetoric from 100 years ago. And my goodness, we should fear what is taking place. It feels like the moral compass has gone skew-whiff. It's like the genie's out of the bottle and it's anyone's game. You know, Poland and Hungary are doing what they do with asylum seekers and refugees in containers. Now we have Denmark saying it's okay to ferry people onto an island.
But what do you think about Anders' point that they are convicted of serious crimes? Is that
does
valid?
not mean they have no human rights.
Well,
and I think the issue here is actually, regardless of the status of a crime, this is about humanity and humanitarian responses to people.
And just to say that some of the people that are going to be ferried there are asylum seekers, genuine asylum seekers.
Indeed.
Not all of them are convicted. How would you respond to that?
No, everyone is convicted in that centre. I'm sorry if it's not translated rightly.
Some don't have a state, so where do they go? They're stateless. Where would they go?
If you're convicted of these crimes, I really don't see it's a big point that they should wander around.
This is really, I mean, this is an example of the policy of appearances, the policy of presentation, which the Danish government has become expert at. It's the latest in a long line of comically sadistic policies that show that the government's being tough on asylum seekers. I mean, it's a fair point. If you have people who are suspected as being dangerous individuals, you need to take special measures, fine. But there are convicted Danish criminals who aren't all put on islands. Presumably, you don't have to have a sort of a colourful, faraway island to keep dangerous people or potentially dangerous people under surveillance. It's entirely for public consumption, and this happens each week in Denmark. It's remarkable.
And it's that combination of the imagery and the rhetoric.
I'll give you the last.
It's the combination of the imagery and the rhetoric which leads us to think, actually, we're not learning lessons from the past, but actually, what are you communicating about your values?
All right.